If you open the internet today, you will see 1,000 different videos about the billionaire morning routine. They tell you that to be successful, you must wake up at 4 a.m. You must take an ice bath. You must meditate on a mountain, drink a green smoothie, and rush to the office to make 100 business decisions before noon. We are told that success requires constant stress, constant motion, and endless hustle. But I want you to look at the most successful investor in modern history. I want you to look at Warren Buffett. He has built a financial empire that is larger than the economies of many countries. He is one of the wealthiest men on the planet. So, what does his daily routine look like? Does he wake up at 4 a.m. in a panic? Does he stare at 6 computer screens, constantly analyzing charts and stressing over daily market fluctuations? No, in fact, Warren Buffett's daily routine is the exact opposite of everything the modern world tells you to do. His routine is incredibly slow. It is completely quiet, and it is the ultimate blueprint for building unbreakable wealth without destroying your mental health. Let's break down a single day in the life of Warren Buffett. His day starts with a full 8 hours of sleep. He does not use a loud alarm clock. He wakes up naturally, usually around 6:45 a.m. Why is this important? Because he understands that financial decisions require a clear, rested mind. When you are constantly exhausted, your brain makes emotional decisions. You take unnecessary, reckless risks. You follow the crowd. By protecting his sleep, he is protecting his primary asset, his rational mind. After he wakes up, he does not have a private chef make him an expensive, luxurious breakfast. He gets into his car, which is usually a very safe, reliable, and ordinary car, and he drives himself to work. On the way to his office, he stops at the McDonald's drive-thru. He spends exactly $3.17 on his breakfast. He's been eating the exact same simple breakfast and drinking a Coca-Cola for decades. And where does he live? He does not live in a massive Hollywood mansion. He lives in the exact same house in Omaha, Nebraska, that he bought in 1958 for $31,000. He could afford any house in the world, but he chooses to stay in a simple, quiet neighborhood. This brings us to his first great rule, the inner scorecard. The reason most people deplete their capital is that they are operating on an outer scorecard. They are trying to impress people they do not even like. They buy cars they cannot afford just to look wealthy on social media. But Warren Buffett operates on an inner scorecard. He does not care what the world thinks of his house or his car. He only cares about the actual numbers in his portfolio. When you remove the need to show off, you keep your money in your pocket and you allow it to compound. You stop playing a game of status and you start playing the game of wealth. Now let's look at his workday. When Buffett arrives at his office, what does he do? Does he call his managers and shout orders? Does he watch the financial news channels? No. There is no computer terminal on his desk. There is no stock market ticker showing green and red numbers. He sits down and he reads. He reads newspapers, he reads financial reports, and he reads books. In fact, Warren Buffett spends 80% of his entire working day just reading. He reads about 500 pages a day. He says that is how knowledge works. It builds up, like compound interest. If you are a young person right now, maybe sitting in a university classroom studying accounting or business management, I want you to pay close attention to this. You might think that studying balance sheets, income statements, and cash flow is incredibly boring. You look around and others are playing on their phones trying to find quick tips on the internet to make fast money. But Warren Buffett has famously said, accounting is the language of business. If you cannot read the financial statements, you cannot understand the business. While the amateurs are making blind guesses based on social media trends, the masters are looking at the numbers. The numbers tell the absolute truth. If you have the patience to study the accounting, to read the boring annual reports, and to understand how a business truly operates, you have a superpower that 99% of the population completely ignores. But what exactly is he looking for when he reads? He is looking for businesses that fit inside his circle of competence. This is his second master rule. Buffett knows exactly what he understands, and more importantly, he knows what he does not understand. When a new, highly complex software company emerges, and the whole world is rushing to buy it, Buffett completely ignores it. Why? Because it is outside his circle. He sticks to what he knows: banking, insurance, strong consumer brands, and basic infrastructure. You do not have to understand every single industry to be wealthy. You just have to deeply understand a few and stay disciplined enough to ignore the rest. Then comes the most shocking part of his routine: the absolute masterclass of his daily schedule, the blank calendar. If you look at Warren Buffett's agenda, it is almost completely empty. He refuses to fill his day with useless meetings. He refuses to take phone calls that do not matter. He has a brilliant saying: the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. In the financial world, people feel the need to constantly act. They buy an asset and 3 days later they sell it. They move their money from one project to another, paying massive fees and taxes every single time. They think that motion equals progress. But Buffett practices the inactivity strategy. His goal is to find a wonderful, strong business with a massive competitive advantage, an economic moat that protects it from rivals, buy it, and then do absolutely nothing for 10, 20, or 30 years. He says that investing is like a baseball game where there are no strikes. You can stand at the plate, and the pitcher can throw 1,000 pitches. You do not have to swing. You can just watch. You wait until the absolute perfect opportunity comes, and then you swing hard. Most people swing at everything because they are impatient. Buffett sits in his office, reads his reports, and waits. But what happens when the market experiences severe fluctuations? What happens when everyone else is panicking? Buffett uses a concept created by his mentor Benjamin Graham called Mr. Market. Imagine you have a business partner named Mr. Market. Every single day he comes to your door and offers to buy your share of the business or sell you his share. The problem is Mr. Market is emotionally unstable. Some days he is incredibly optimistic and asks for a very high price. Other days he is deeply depressed and offers to sell you his share for almost nothing. The foolish investor lets Mr. Market's emotions dictate his own. When Mr. Market is depressed, the foolish investor gets scared and sells. But the intelligent investor, the one using smart investing wisdom, understands that Mr. Market is there to serve you, not to guide you. When the market experiences a heavy downturn and everyone is running away, the intelligent investor quietly steps in and buys phenomenal companies at a massive discount. Doing nothing during the hype and acting decisively during the fear is his greatest weapon. We must also talk about his greatest ally, time. Buffett likes to describe building wealth as rolling a snowball down a very long hill. The secret isn't finding the wettest snow, it is finding a hill that is long enough. Most people want an avalanche by tomorrow morning, so they build a fragile snowball and push it off a cliff. It shatters. But the intelligent investor starts with a small, solid core of capital. They let it roll slowly, gathering momentum year after year, decade after decade. You do not need to be in a rush when you know the mathematical certainty of compound interest is working in your favor. Furthermore, look at what Warren Buffett does not pay attention to. He completely ignores the daily macroeconomic noise. He does not base his decisions on political elections, interest rate predictions, or geopolitical drama on the evening news. He asks a much simpler question. Will people still be chewing gum in 10 years? Will they still be drinking this beverage? Will they still need insurance? If the underlying business is phenomenal, the daily headlines simply do not matter. The media wants you to be in a constant state of panic because panic generates clicks, but panic destroys wealth. Buffett turns off the television and reads the annual report. But what happens when he cannot find a wonderful business at a fair price? He simply holds cash. In a world that screams cash is trash, Buffett stays comfortable sitting on his capital for years. Why? Because cash is the ultimate weapon of opportunity. It allows you to act decisively when others are paralyzed by uncertainty. Patience is having the discipline to hold your capital until the perfect pitch crosses the plate. Ultimately, this requires a fundamental shift in how you view the market. The amateur sees a stock as a speculative ticket on a screen, but the master sees it as a legal certificate of ownership in a real business. When you buy a share, you are hiring a CEO and an entire workforce to produce value for you. You are building an invisible army that generates cash flow while you sleep, while you play cards, or while you spend time with your loved ones. When the evening comes, Buffett goes home. He plays bridge for a few hours, a game of strategy and probability. Even his relaxation is a mental exercise. He spends time with his family, reads a little more, and goes to sleep. It is simple. It is quiet. It is incredibly boring, and it has generated billions. Remember, 99% of his wealth was created after his 50th birthday. That is the magic of extreme patience. We study this routine for one reason: absolute freedom. We do not do this for fame. We do this to build a fortress around our lives. Imagine a foundation so strong that no economic cycle can hurt you. Imagine the peace of mind to buy a meaningful gift for someone you love without a second thought. Imagine having the resources to turn your empathy into action, like funding a safe shelter for the street animals in your city. True wealth is not loud. It is not a flashy car or a stressful morning routine. True wealth is having complete control over your time. It is the ability to wake up, read, and let your investments do the heavy lifting. Remove your ego. Stop the speculation. Learn the language of business, protect your time, and build your empire in silence. Subscribe to Smart Investing Wisdom, and I will see you in the next video.